Hey guys, Coach N here. Today we're going to be taking a look at Gambit's astonishing victory over G2 in the recent VCT Masters Berlin tournament. Gambit managed to 13-0 G2 on their very own map pick in quite a convincing manner too. We're going to talk about how Nats' role fits in with Gambit and how they play around his role, exactly what they do to puppeteer the G2 players to fall right into their trap, ultimately leading them to the 13-0 victory. Alrighty guys, let's get started off with the first gun round. So at the start of the round, we can see that there are 4 players of Gambit leaning over towards this A bomb site. There's 2 players right under belt and 2 players right in front of main. Also, it's good to note that there are 2 players from the G2 side in this little B main area, right outside of B main. And we're going to see exactly how Gambit decide to change G2 setup to kind of morph and fit what they want to do and where they want to go. So let's play the round out and let's see what happens. So pretty default smoke coming out from Mixwell right there, stopping the push early on. Now, they're just trying to deny information, gain a little bit of information. But take a look at the Sova, right? The second a flash is thrown out, an arrow is thrown out, or some sort of presence on the A bomb site is shown, showing that there's like, hey, there's more than 2 players here, potentially even 3 players. That's Koldamente's cue to leave the B bomb site and leave Kellogg's on his own. Now, this is exactly what Gambit wants. They want to leave Nats on an island so he can kind of work one-on-one with the player on the other bomb site to kind of creep up on there, get information, get in a little crevice to maybe punish some aggression and to just gain a little bit of map control for free, right? They haven't shown themselves, not a single body has been seen from either side. Yet there's so much information and map control that they're gonna gain just by simply throwing 2 pieces of utility and walking up. As we play the round out, Gambit are continuing to pressure A, and now even the Sage rotates from mid. They've walled mid off so they know that there's no one mid. But look at Gambit, right? They're going back. They're going back over to this B bomb site, suggesting that it's a fake towards A. But if you take a look at the minimap, you can see that Sheydos is situated right over here, right under pipes. This suggests that it's going to be a double fake. They're not going to leave him here because if they leave him here and they hit the B bomb site, his lurk's going to be too late and it's going to rely too much on them to get a clean B take. If something goes wrong, if there's a minor inconvenience or something happens, someone pushes, they die, they're not going to have a fallback plan because he's going to be ruled out of the round. They're going to put him in a spot to where he's going to have impact on the round. So leaving him here suggests that he's holding this line of sight for any of the G2 players that might push to go for a fast little flank, that might go to get some information, and he's just here to deny that information. Make sure G2 don't know if someone's waiting A main, if they're going to go back A, and he's just going to sit here the whole round. Now at this point, Gambit didn't have any mid presence, so they don't know the situation at mid. They don't know if G2 walked down, they don't know what information they have concerning mid, what utility they threw mid, so they're going to have to carefully clear that and go on with that. And they have to respect the information G2 has. And that's what they do, right? They don't want to walk a mid because they don't know what's going on. They don't want to give away their positioning by breaking that wall. They don't want to go through that wall because they don't know if a player's behind it or not. But in the meantime, as they were doing that, Nats found himself this nice little crevice over towards B. Basically, making sure Kellogg's has to worry about every single angle on this bomb site as possible. And that's why this Viper wall is so good. It allows him to get into all these little crevices in B main. Think about it. Think about entering B as a T. It's so hard entering without a Sova drone or a Skydog because you don't know where the CTs are playing, right? If you look at the map, the CTs could be playing on top of this double box. You know, they could be playing behind single. They could be in cubby. One could be right here on top of green or outside of green. One could be holding this angle right here. There's so many angles that you have to clear when you're going on this B bomb site, and it's so annoying. If you take a look at Nats, he's found himself in one of those annoying angles, and now instead of the pressure being on the T's to clear these annoying angles, it's on Kellogg's to hold these annoying angles as the T's rush him. Before Kellogg's even has a chance to shoot somebody, Nats and Chronicle are already on their way over to the A bomb site. They said, you know what, we've shown us here. They know that there's 4 people over to this B bomb site. Let's leave. So as soon as they show themselves, they start running. But while they're running, the other two players from Gambit are rushing Kellogg's, showing that, hey, we're coming B still. Stay B and respect our presence. So as they're walking up, Kellogg's manages to get one, and he ultimately ends up losing to Redgar. But while all this is happening, look at where the Gambit players are. They're already on their way towards A main, and Sheydos is still sitting in the same corner. He hasn't moved an inch. He knows, hey, G2 hasn't pushed up. You guys are free to come back, right? And this will be a common theme in this match, hitting double fakes. Gambit will hit multiple double fakes throughout this half, and G2 just won't know which site they're hitting, because at all times, to them, it seems like they have 3 people on each site, yet there's only 5 people on the team, right? But there's so much pressure putting on them at the start of the round, at the mid round, at the late round, that they don't really have much information to play with, right? If we take a look at Kellogg's or Sheydos, sorry, if we take a look at Sheydos right here, he's still here, meaning he's cut off this whole line of sight, and that the information G2 have is just the bomb site that they're playing on. Not only that, but with the 2 players from Gambit rushing yellow, that means the defenders from G2 don't know if they're on site or not, and the only information they have is B site. So the players from G2 are very limited in what they can and cannot do. They just have to hold the same angle and pray that they hit their shots. If you look at how the map is split up, it's a 1-on-3 against a 1-on-3, but the bomb is going over towards A, where it's going to be a 3-on-1 in Gambit's favor. And this is a great example of Gambit puppeteering G2. They're making sure that their side takes are always in their favor. They're never going to go on a site where it's a 2-on-4 or 2-on-3 even. They're going to make sure that wherever they go, that they have the man advantage and that they're always in control. If you look at the map, it's split up into 2, A and B. On the A bomb site where they're heading, it's a 3-on-1. And on the B bomb site, it's a 1-on-3. But Redgar isn't going to do anything. He's just going to live. He's going to hide and make sure. And his job is to make sure that it's a 3-on-1 on A, and that Gambit can easily go on the site flawlessly or trade out. As they take the site, Sheydos finds a nice little kill on Nuke. And at this point, it's a 4-on-3 for G2. Mixwell gets a nice little trade, gets out, but there's not much that they can do from this point. Looking at their health, looking at their positioning, Redgar comes back and gets koldamente for mid. This is actually insane, guys. I don't think you guys understand how insane this is. Look at the radar. koldamente knows he's coming here, but he still loses the fight. Gambit are just on top of their game, right? They're hitting their shots, they're playing everything perfectly, and their fights are in favor. This is great by Sheydos too. He waits till he hits the floor, and then he starts shooting, making sure that all of his shots hit. By the time Mixwell goes on the site, there's not much he can do. It's a 1-on-3, and he just loses the round. Alright, heading off into the next round, it's an eco round for G2. They don't have many guns. There's a Spectre, 3 Deagles, not much to work with. But look at Gambit. There's no lurk here, right? There's no information on A. It's a stack towards B, and they're just going to stampede their way through. They're hitting it fast. No respect. Look at the change in pace from the 3rd round to the 4th round. They hit a triple fake on the 3rd round, and now they're rushing B, guys. I can't make this up. I really can't. Like, look at this. I'm just going to play the round out. They have the drone coming, they're walking in with the drone, and they're just running at them. They're in their heads. 4 rounds in, no respect whatsoever on these eco rounds. Look, 3 of them are on B already dead. It's a 5-on-2, a share respect to retake. G2 weren't expected to win this round anyways, but it's not that they won or lost the round. It's the statement that Gambit made on this round. Gambit showed absolutely no respect to G2 whatsoever. They dominated them on this eco round, and I'm sure later on the next eco round, they're going to do the exact same. They're showing them respect when it matters, but when it doesn't, they're absolutely just rushing them and destroying them. Now, that's going to get in your head, right? On the gun rounds, you feel like you have no chance, and on the eco rounds, you surely have no chance, and they're showing that you have no chance. Heading on to round 5, we see some mid aggression coming out of G2. They're getting information that they lacked on the first gun round. Get mid, get a nice little kill. It's a 4v5 in the favor of G2. Let's see how Gambit responds to this. Nuke is running down mid. There's so much information giving over to G2. But look at Chronicle. He's so aware. You know, most players right there, they would go to get the bomb with their knife out. But Chronicle, no, not Chronicle. He has his gun out and he's absolutely ready. And this goes to that gun out rule that I have, and I stress so much over people I'm playing with and my teammates in general. It's not worth running around with your knife half the time, especially in your spawn or their spawn, because you don't know where they are. Only do it when you know where everyone on the map is. Because just right there, if Chronicle decided to flip his knife out and shift walk towards the bomb, he would have been dead. But he had his gun out, right? And that's something that's so hard to teach to like immature players, because people will just have their knife out and just start running there. But not Chronicle. He has his gun out. So now it's a 4-on-3 in the favor of Gambit. 15 seconds after the first casualty. G2 just got a kill mid. They're like, okay, hey, man advantage for us. This is good. But not even 10 seconds after that, they lose 2 players and they're shattered. But look at Nats. Those 2 kills were his cue to walk up A, right? Oftentimes when you're lurking, you don't want to lurk by yourself. You want to lurk with what's going on the other side of the map, and that's what Nats does, right? On that round 3, we saw that his cue to go up was that flash and that arrow thrown by the Sova and the Reyna. This time, his cue to go up were the 2 kills on B. He knows that G2 has to worry about other parts of the map and that they're going to be misstepping or moving away from positions that they're holding. So that's his cue to go up. And he enables his lurks perfectly. The timings on his lurks are to near perfection almost every round. And that's how he finds himself in these like ready positions. Like 30 seconds into the round, he knows when to enable his lurks and what to enable them off of. Now, unfortunately, he never ended up clearing this angle, so Mixwell managed to get 3, which leaves him on a 1-on-3. And let's see how he wins this. He gets koldamente, sees the other guy spawn, knows this guy is here and he's stuck, so he's just looking for him, right? He knows it's a 1-on-1 and he's gonna try and take advantage of that for the time being. Now here, Mixwell just whiffs, gets the kill, knows the other guy was CT and just hits a great shot, right? There's not much there. He just isolated his fights and just hit his shots. That's pretty much it. Now, at this point for G2, you have to be absolutely devastated, right? You're 5 rounds in. At the start of the round, it seems like everything is going well for you. You have a kill, you have so much of the map, and all of a sudden, you lose it within 10 seconds. And the same thing happens here. Mixwell gets a nice little 3K, it's a 1-on-3, and not even 20 seconds after, they've lost the round. Right, what are you thinking if you're G2 right now? Like, what do we do, right? It seems like we're doing so much. It seems like we're playing this good, but we just end up losing. And they end up taking a timeout here. Again, we see the same little A aggression setup with 4 turrets A, throwing that flash and that arrow combo. But look at Nats. Look at this change in aggression. Look at this change in pace. Nats just had a phenomenal round, a great 1v3, and look at how he's playing. He's sitting in spawn, guys. He's sitting in spawn. He's looking for buy one get one free deals in the shop. I cannot make this up. Now, this change of aggression is what throws G2 off. It allows them to think that they can make these silly plays, aggress a little, try and regain some of this information. You never really know what Gambit are doing. One round they're hitting triple fakes, the next round they're rushing at you, the next round there's a guy sitting in spawn holding flank, right? All within the span of 6 rounds. Only 6 rounds have been played out, and it seems like Gambit have thrown out 3 strat books at them, right? The diversity in their strat calling on this T side is absolutely phenomenal. They've set the tone early on, and they've broken that multiple times. It's kind of like writing an essay, right? You set the tone at the start, and you break it, and you introduce a new groundbreaking point, and it just all flows together so well. If we play the round out, we see G2 are advancing themselves over towards A. So Kellogg's thinks he's free to go for a flank. He's like, wait guys, I'm flanking. But look at Nats. He's waiting still. He's waiting and he has the awareness for another guy B. Now, this goes back to that third round where Gambit knew that there were 2 players over towards B. And on that round, they made the Sova rotate through spawn. But in this round, they gave them that false sense of security, thinking that both of them can flank. Gambit have clearly done their homework, and they know what they're running into on this matchup. They know how they play, they know how to puppeteer them, and they're just puppeteering them to perfection. And then look at this. Look at this. They're hitting another fake, guys. They're hitting another fake. They've just killed a guy on A. They know their buy is bad. Nats know, he saw what guns they have when he kills them. But they're all going back to B. Like, this is just phenomenal. The amount, this is that disciplined playstyle we were talking about, right? Aggressive but disciplined. They're making sure that nothing goes wrong, right? They know for a fact that B is clear because they just saw those two guys A. They don't want to run A and get D'd by nuke A 4 times, which leaves Avevo on a one-on-one clutch anytime I manage to win it. They're playing this so safe yet so aggressive and so disciplined. Alright guys, let's move on to round 7. Again, we see the same flash arrow combo thrown out by Gambit, and Kellogg's have decided to reposition over to the A-bomb site. There's a battle of the sages going on in mid, and they're trying to heavily contest mid. That's something G2 likes to do a lot. And Gambit wisely is avoiding mid most of these rounds. Have you guys noticed that? Have you guys noticed that Gambit is avoiding mid, the one place where there's a lot of contention from G2. The one place where G2 is putting a lot of pressure, Gambit's like, hey, you know what? We respect your decision. You know, put all your cards in mid. You know, play them all out. We don't mind. We won't go there. We respect your decision, and that's it. But take a look at Nats, you guys. Look at where Nats is. We're 8 seconds into the round, and Nats is already on the default spot of B. Nats has not stopped walking ever since the barrier fell, which suggests that they know Kellogg's is here. And this goes back over to that previous round where they just completely bullied him off of B, right? G2 was like, hey, you have an op, you know, and Gambit clearly knows he has an op. They saw the money. Like, hey, you have an op, why don't you come over towards A? You know, it's a nice site to op on. We'll change up our setup a little, change the pace up. What we're doing clearly isn't working. And Gambit knows this. Why? Because this is exactly what they set G2 up for in the earlier rounds. They bullied them on B, forcing them to play A and mid. Now that there's no one on B and G2 are kind of having this retake setup over towards B, Nats is already behind them. And they're still pressuring A at this point. And look at where Nats is. Nats is in kitchen. He has amazing trigger discipline, ends up getting a Vova, pops the ult out on B, and here comes a rotation from Gambit. They're on the way back, and he gets such a phenomenal shot on Mixwell. Like, there's really nothing much to say about that. Just outclassed and out-aimed. Chronicle on their way back again. Again, rotating through mid. They have their gun out, and they know that G2 has this mid contention. And they always get this kill mid. Before it was by Redgar on Chronicle. Or sorry, it was by Redgar on koldamente. Now it's on Chronicle to nuke. Every single time they go back, Gambit's making sure that G2, yo, you can't even go mid, my guy. You can't. We're gonna shut you down. We respect your decision at the start of the round. You make a nice little misstep, you're dead. And look at Nats. He's already snow, gets a nice little kill on Kellogg's, and they close out the round. Another flawless victory from Gambit. Now look at this, you guys. Round 8, Kellogg's is walking down B, but Defo is sitting in spawn with an op, just shuts him down. Right? G2 can't do anything. They can't get any information. Why is Kellogg's walking down B there? What does he gain out of that? Right? Gambit's everywhere. Gambit has so much map presence. They're everywhere. It seems like G2 can't do anything. They can't play on site. They can't push. What can they do? They can't play an aggressive playstyle. They can't play a defensive playstyle. Look at Gambit! Gambit's just sitting in their spawn. Chronicle's sitting right outside of B main. He's been holding tube the whole round. Defo was holding B main the whole round. Sheydos was holding A main the whole round. G2 can't do anything. Gambit knows what G2's doing at all times. At this point, there's not much of Ovo can do. And Gambit ending up getting another flawless round. Another one. We're 8 rounds in and what? They've had 4 flawless rounds? That is absurd, you guys. Now we're on to a good round. And look at this change in aggression. koldamente pops the ult. And this gives Nats the cue. Hey, this guy popped his ult. That means it's most likely a one-on-one mid. If he popped it mid, there's no way that there's not another guy here. There has to be his teammate holding. And that's his cue to run up. Look at this change in pace, you guys. The last round, they were sitting in their spawn on an eco round. And now, there's 3 players of Gambit running up mid. After 8 rounds of heavy contention from G2 mid, Gambit's like, now we rush mid. We're going to rush mid. You've had your fun mid. Mid is ours now. And Nats just runs up through his own smoke, hits a nice little shot on a Vovo. Walls up, and there's so much space gained. Unfortunately, dies to the kill lock, but red guard's there for the trade. And it's just trade after trade after trade. Gets res, hits a nice shot on koldamente. Gambit's calling on this T side has been absolutely beautiful. I like to call it rhythmic. They've been pushing, they've been waiting, they've been pushing, they've been waiting, they've been pushing, they've been waiting. They've been going A, they've been going B, they've been going A. And all within the span of 3 to 4 rounds, there's so much that there's so many parts of the map that they've been to, so much aggression that they've shown, so much discipline that they've shown. G2 really doesn't know what they're up against right now. How do you play against a team that has a playstyle like this? They're pushing, but they're not. They're waiting in spawn, but they're not. You never really know what they're doing. And as a team, that's exactly what you want. You never want the enemy team to know what you're doing, but rather you want to know what they're doing and force them into your plan. Moving on to this next round, Gambit are going over towards a B hit, and they're just looking to take duels here. They're clearing out B main super fast. They have Defo in a nice little position, and he's just taking duels. He hits a great shot on koldamente, but look at Chronicle here. I'm gonna take some time to show Chronicle's positioning. You guys remember that one round where Nuki walked down mid and died, thinking he had a nice flank? Chronicle's watching the flank. They're so aware of this possibility that G2 might walk down mid. They don't want anything to go wrong with their game plan. They don't want to get flanked. Look at the map right here. There's 4 players of G2 or Gambit, sorry, going over around this A bomb site, but Chronicle's sitting right here holding flank, making sure no one flanks. After he's given the cue that, hey, this is where all 4 players on the map are, you're good to go. Now, after he's given the cue that all 4 players of Gambit are on B, he's given the cue to lurk at mid. Now, there's not much that G2 can do. They're going to have to run to the Viper. Oh, Gambit's holding every single possible angle. There's just not much that they can do. And look at Chronicle's lurk. Not only does G2 have to worry about what's in front of them, but they have to worry about what's behind them at all times. Mixwell runs out the Viper pit with his smoke, or his knife, sorry, and he just gets shut down by Chronicle right away. Do you know how tilting that has to be from the side of G2? Not only do you have to worry about what's in front of you, but you have to worry about what's behind you as a CT. Think about that, guys. You have to worry about what's behind you, holding the bomb sites down. It's just absolutely beautiful from Gambit. At round number 11, there's 5 players of Gambit over to A, but do you guys notice something? Nats didn't do that same B default wall that he's been doing for the past 10 rounds. Every single round up until this point, there was that B wall. Now that wall's not there anymore. So they're trying to drill this in the minds of G2 that they are going on this A bomb site. There is no way that they are not going on this A bomb site, right? I think in another video I mentioned how you would default every round, and one round you would change up your utility usage to make it unpredictable but kind of predictable, but a false predictable, right? That false sense of security, you know, giving the other team some false sense of security that they can make this risky play, that they can reaggress over here. And that's exactly what Gambit does over here. They're showing so much aggression over towards A within the first 10 seconds of the round. And let's see how they change the pace so fast. Defo's running up belt. He's running up belt. Redguard gets a kill on Nuke. And now they're done. They have that kill. They stop moving. They're sitting and they're waiting for G2 to make the mistake. At this point, Gambit knows the pressure's not on them, but the pressure's on G2 to do something with the man that they lost. If they just continue to sit and wait, they'll ultimately lose the round. So they're waiting for G2 to make some kind of reaggression, or they're waiting for them to get some kind of information. Again, we talked about them forcing them into uncomfortable spots. Earlier on, they forced Kellogg's and koldamente to push B. Now, look at koldamente right now. He's fallen for their trap. He's been played like a fiddle. Gambit were so aware that he was walking down mid, almost as if they made him walk down mid. It's just truly beautiful. And now, they're not even going A, right? They threw that wall A to drill in their heads that, hey, we're coming A. There's no way we're not coming A. We haven't done this wall once. We're coming A, guys. Get ready. And they're on the B bomb site, and Nets has found himself in a nice little angle over towards kitchen. I can't make this up, you guys. I really can't. He gets a nice little kill on Mixwell. All of a sudden, it's a 4-on-1. Over here, we see Mixwell's wall thrown out for some aggression. It's pretty telegraphed. Gambit knows that. Unfortunately, Defo misses the shot, but Chronicle's there to fix it up. But look at Nats! Look at Nats! Look at where he is. That A pressure was his cue to walk up A, and that was also Kellogg's cue to go peek B main. Kellogg's has to be so tilted. He was holding B main the whole time, and the second something happened on A to force his reaction, also forced Nat's reaction, and he got himself behind him. This whole game, Nats' lurks have been enabled to almost perfect timings. At this point, Chronicle's still waiting. Koldamente pushes A. G2 are just pushing and dying to Gambit, right? But can you really blame them? Can you blame them? Because that's exactly what Gambit is making them do. They've killed 2 guys on A, and now they're running B. They don't know where Nuke is. They're just running B altogether. And there's just nothing he can do. There's absolutely nothing that Nuke can do. And in the pistol round, there's not much to say. Gambit just hits some insane shots, and they close it out. A perfect game by them. Ultimately, it was Gambit's disciplined playstyle that won them that game. They knew exactly what they were doing, and they gave G2 the respect when needed. They almost never challenged them mid until later on in the half, after they drilled in their heads that, you know what, it's fine, you can have mid, which made G2 loosen up their mid hold, and when they loosened it up, they just penetrated it. They just went right in there, just absolutely obliterated their mid hold. Imagine being G2 over there. You're holding B, they come B, they absolutely destroy you. You go over towards A, they hit a double fake on your site, and they go back to B. You go back to B, a guy lurks up behind you and you're dead. Half the time Kellogg's died, he couldn't even see Nats. He got shot in the side of the head, or he got killed by a guy sitting in spawn. Do you know how annoying that has to be? Gambit's default on Icebox shut down so much information from G2, forcing them to reaggress, get some information, and they punished them for reaggressing. This is exactly what I covered in my bind guide. It's just they just played their rounds out to near perfection, always making sure wherever they go that they have the advantage. Always watching their flank, always having their gun up, making sure that nothing slips by. This was a great game. I really enjoyed watching and breaking it down with you guys. Hopefully in the future there are more bangers like this. I'm really looking forward to Champions, and by the time that rolls around, there'll be a lot more videos out breaking down all your favorite games and just seeing how all your favorite teams play. Later.